well.
Lenegis's infrastructure is largely automated. Besides, people won't be expecting incoming traffic while the crown contest is still underway.
Do you think anyone realizes that we're here?
We may not have received a royal welcome, but I doubt our entrance went unnoticed. Don't let your guard down.
I really hope we don't have to fight anybody while we're here.
So now what? We've come all this way on a hunch that this red woman is here, right? And if we're lucky, the Renis Alma too. Any idea where we should start looking?
There is an area of the city that is accessible only to the Sovereigns, known as the Forbidden Zone. That seems as good a place as any for us to start.
Forbidden? What are they hiding?
I don't know, hence my desire to find out. Fortunately, we just so happen to have a Sovereign in our midst. In any case, changing the shape of a huge structure such as Lenegis would have required an immense source of power.
Then you think that source might have been the Renis Alma?
Precisely. Alphen said that he remembered the Renis Alma being used in the spirit channeling ceremony 3 centuries ago. Whatever the ceremony's purpose, if preparations are underway for it to be held once more, then the Renis Alma might be in the same place as last time, possibly together with the Red Woman. Hiding something of that worth in the residential quarters would only court trouble. In which case...
It stands to reason we should be looking somewhere normally out of bounds. Is that it?
Indeed.
But it's been over 300 years since I was made a Sovereign. You can't seriously think I'll be able to waltz right into the place after all this time.
There's only one way to find out. If there's even a chance you can get us in, I say we give it a shot.
Shion's right. Who knows? We might even find a clue to her thorns while we're at it.
All right. It's not like we're swimming in leads, so let's try to track down the Forbidden Zone. Beyond that wall lies a city full of Renins. A capital city where
Thinking about what could be...
What in the world?
This being Renin territory, I was prepared for a lot of things to look different. But this is a bit more than I anticipated.
The very foundations of the city have shifted. What could have caused this?
When Lenegis changed shape, it must have had an effect on the interior too.
Maybe when they sent the wedge down to Dana?
But they wouldn't move around the places where people live. These are their homes, right?
I would think the citizens themselves didn't have much say in the matter. Either way, locating the Forbidden...
Dohalim? Is that you?
Avakir, I'm glad to see you're well.
So it is you! But why are you here? Shouldn't...
So you haven't heard what happened on Dana, then?
Heard what?
Someone you know?
An old friend.
Hey, Dohalim, don't tell me if...
They're with me. More importantly...
I'm really not sure. The city's foundations began to... We're all waiting for the Sovereign to tell us what's happening.
Avakir, listen to me. We're looking for the Forbidden Zone.
The Forbidden Zone?
Trust me. The less you know...
You're just... I wish I could help, but what with the changed topography, I can barely locate my own, let alone the Forbidden...
Very well. It looks like we'll have to find...
Have you seen Faria yet?
No.
I see. Well, nothing much has changed with her. If anything, she's probably even more...
I can well imagine.
Why did you come back? You know it can only result in pain for you both.
I've no doubt of that.
You really are the same as ever. Fine, I understand. Just don't say I didn't warn you. And take care of yourself. Okay, Do?
So who's Faria?
Law?
If what Avakir said is true, it would seem the people of Lenegis are
They seem to be just as clueless about what's going on up here in their own world. Despite the fact...
We need more information.
While we're at it, we can ask the...
And don't forget about finding...
Let's leave the talking to Shion. We can't have...
Good idea.
I shall assist.
You sure?
Being a lord on Lenegis...
Right. The Danans among us should probably keep...
What could be so important? It's worth
So...
Everything will be okay now.
I know the basics of healing arts, but my skills pale in comparison.
Your lordship! Oh, what a... I descended to Dana during the last crown contest also. I witnessed the death...
Indeed.
Sorry to interrupt. Is everything okay? You look a little lost.
Oh, yes. I can't seem to find my way home, is all. I was just about to make my umpteenth attempt at a new route.
I was hoping to head this way myself. The situation is a real pain, huh?
I suppose the Sovereign knows best. I daren't stay here too long, though. A lower caste can only linger around these parts for so long before I outstay my welcome. I was hoping to avoid it, but maybe I'll have to go that way after all.
You mean you know another way round?
Lord Dohalim Ilkaris! But how? Last I heard, you were in Dana competing in the crown contest.
Yes, strange, isn't it? If you know another route, we'd be grateful if you could tell us.
But of course. Please forgive me. There's a wall that sprung up ahead of here, with what looks to be an entrance in it. I thought maybe it was a passageway between the different quarters, but I've no way of knowing for sure.
It's worth investigating, at least. I shall go and assess the situation. In the meantime, wait for me.
You'd really do that for—
Our lot in life is—
Oh,
Well, we've canvassed the city for information.
No one has the faintest idea what's happened to the city after all.
You'd think that info would easily find its way up here.
not to this extent, which would indicate that something's suppressing the truth.
Given everything that's happened to their city, the people—
Yeah, that one guy even said Zoogle had stopped listening to him.
Everything that happens here is attributed to the Sovereign's will. Nothing happens devoid of a reason.
The Sovereign's plan. There is one thing I'm still not sure about.
The Sovereign, of course. He rules from
Without the lords or anyone in the middle doing his dirty work? That's a pretty big dominion for one person to rule over. I would have thought ruling Lenegis—
The points you make are valid, though I confess I'd never given it much thought before. Come to think of it, I know nothing of the nature— Shion, have you ever been— No, forgive me.
No.
Neither have I. In which case, I would imagine that— But no, surely not. Can it really be that—
Hold up, what are you—
Assuming what I believe to be correct, it's possible that no one on Lenegis has ever laid eyes on the actual Renan homeworld itself. No,
But what about trade and communication?
not if the Sovereign is imposing his will on Lenegis single-handed.
But I thought you said that the Sovereign's all the way over on Rena. If that's the case, what if something were to happen to the city?
I'm beginning to wonder what the nature of this Sovereign even is. But Sovereign is also the title given to the almighty Renan ruler.
Whoever wins the crown contest inherits the throne from his or her thereafter. That individual is known as for how Volron factors into all this. At this point, I no longer know what to believe.
3 centuries ago, I became the Sovereign here on Lenegis. No, not just 300 years later, we cross paths with That's not the only thing we have in common. We both
Do you think Volron was made sovereign for the same—
I can't say for sure.
But that would mean that 2 Sovereigns would need to exist at any one time. One who's We never did see Volron's body back. Is a new ceremony underway with Volron at its center this time? Could that be what's—
Wait a second. You don't think the ceremony can't go forward without the Renis Alma? The same—
There's something else the ceremony needs. A maiden. And unless there's another one out there aside from me...
Questions, questions, and yet more questions. Ones that it seems will—
If the Forbidden Zone really is off-limits to everyone but the Sovereign, that seems as—
Then it's decided.
One of this— Let's go find it!
With nobody left to run the show, I wonder what the people here are supposed to do. I mean, they're sovereign.
But Dohalim was a lord, right?
Only current acting lords have power. Renan society is quite strict about such matters.
Even if the other lords were still around, I doubt they'd be able to do much about the situation.
I wonder what they'd think if they were here to see Lenegis now. Balsif, Cannibal. Now that I think of it, aside from
Well, yeah, to us Danans, they were just enemies we needed to over—
I know. But seeing Ren—
It feels...
Yeah, if you ever—
And luck.
Hmm?
Yes! Yeah!
Balsef had it in him to care about...
Tell me, Doha.
I guess she intended to spread it throughout all of Lenegis then.
Good thing the lines were down so she couldn't.
It almost sounded like she was praising them, too.
Maybe there was more to the guy than at first glance.
I shall refrain from commenting.
What?
Ganabelt was so horrible to people. Yet he was invested in helping Rena succeed. Doesn't that seem just a little inconsistent?
I'm perhaps biased in this matter, I admit. However, in my mind, while all lords vie to become the next sovereign, they're also meant to serve as guardians of all of Rena.
It seems like Ganabelt also had people he cared about until the very end.
Why couldn't he extend that to us Danans?
This area doesn't look as badly damaged as that other district we went through.
Pardon me.
I guess her willingness to stoop to any low came from a survival of the fittest worldview.
And some people here not only shared her belief, but championed it as morally right too.
That doesn't make it true. Too bad they couldn't see through her.
Yeah.
Ridiculous. Okay. Ah!
It seems like the people on Lenegis don't really know much about Volron either.
I remember being quite surprised when the Lord of Ganeth Harros changed so abruptly.
Didn't you have any doubts that something suspicious was going on?
On the contrary, remember, we Renans are raised to accept everything at face value.
When you think about it, the families of Renan lords must see them differently than the rest of us.
Yeah, despite the brute.
They must have had a lot on their shoulders. Carrying...
Renans live in a world where strength at their loyal...
That's what makes...
Right.
Guess that makes...
So,
Yeah, Balsef and the others. They all had their own circumstances to deal with as they went through.
Yeah, but still, just...
I know. What they did was horrible, but at the same time... So I guess...
You're saying that they weren't bad because they were Renans, or because they were terrible, even if they did terrible things?
Renwell.
Am I wrong?
Not at all.
Being a Danan doesn't make you a good person. And being a Ren... I think that's something we've...
Shion and Dohalim definitely...
And I'm going to keep doing my best.
There's something I just don't get.
What is it?
The crown contest itself is all... In which case, the current sovereign of Rena should be whoever it was that won the previous contest.
Yeah, that makes...
So,
Hanfried Milgras, the former lord of Cislodia, if memory serves.
So then this Hanfried whatchamacallem, he's the current ruler of Rena?
The last I heard, yes. Though, admittedly,
You're saying that ever since becoming sovereign, he's never...
I guess over holocom maybe, but not in the flesh. Same thing.
now that you mention it, I don't recall anyone ever visiting Lenegis from the motherland.
And that never struck...
When you live here, it's as if you're conditioned not to notice all these strange quirks and discrepancies. The question is...
A new Renis Alma is supposedly created to coincide with every crown contest. In other words, if that's true, there should be as many of the things out there as there have been contests.
True, but going on what we witnessed in Pelagian, it didn't look like the sort of thing that could be made to order. But if even the victor's speeches have been part of some grand deception, then where are they? Quite frankly...
You and me both. Though we are Renin by blood, neither of us even knew that such a
with any luck, the Forbidden Zone might give us some...
No use standing around here...
Doe?
Faria.
Varia? Isn't that the person that Avakir...
But why are you here? Wait. Nothing to say? Even though you were willing to kill Tarnigan to secure your position as Lord. Kill?
I'm here to take care of something. If you wish to continue this conversation, I only ask that you...
Oh, of course. You always did prefer to take the coward's way out. Even after 7 years and living on that, but let me tell you, I haven't changed either. Not a day's gone by the past 7 years that I haven't hated you.
If killing me will bring you peace...
Dohalim, what the hell are you saying?
First, I have business to take care of. If it's vengeance you seek, I will grant you it. But you must wait. My sins are legion. Let me finish what I came to do. Then you have my word. I will let you do what...
Sure, that's it. Run away like always. You don't even have the courage to die. No wonder you leave it to someone else. You're just a coward!
Dohalim.
I apologize that you had to...
Is it true? What she...
Each of us have our pasts.
Before, back in Menancia, you mentioned having taken a...
The mistakes I made there were not my first, and may not be my last.
Did you mean what you said? About letting her...
She has more right to my life than anyone.
But you can't just...
Whatever happens, I have sworn to put an end to the crown contest, and to ensure continued... I have no intention of expiring before I do so. There are far too many questions I still seek out. Besides, you have just as much reason to kill me as she does.
Dohalim!
Forgive me. Some things are best left unsaid.
This place...
Yeah, it must be some sort of rest.
You think? Man, these Renan sure know how to live it.
It is some...
Before I went down to Dana, my friends and I, we... Avakir, Faria, and Tarnagan.
Tarnagan. He was the one...
He was once my dearest, closest friend. As well as Faria's betrothed. Despite Faria's lower-class upbringing, she possesses a tremendous talent for music. Entranced by her playing, I helped her overcome her sense of inferiority and introduced her to Tarnagan and Avakir. It was a time of great joy. 4 people bound only by their love of music, with no care for social standing. Only the next song, the next melody.
A friendship based on mutual respect, and a society where everyone is a prisoner to their social class. You really are different, Dohalim.
I suppose it's natural you would see it as strange.
I would have, once. Now, I think the idea of breaking away from society's constraints and choosing your friends based solely on affection is something beautiful that's worth cherishing. Besides, it was that way of looking at the world that laid the foundations for coexistence in Menancia.
Your praise does me too great an honor. I was merely following the wishes of my own heart. And even then, it only lasted until the crown contest began. After that, Tarnagan and I became fierce competitors for the position of Lord. Tarnagan had fallen for Faria. By becoming Lord, he aimed to wrest her from her humble origins and raise her to the highest echelons of society. But fate was not so benevolent.
What happened?
Tarnagan was no match for me in combat. On a level playing field, he wouldn't have stood a chance. But he was desperate and low on options, and he couldn't stand the thought of defeat.
You mean he resorted to dirty tactics to try to win, right? But then why does Faria think... Wait, don't tell me she doesn't know.
How could I tell her? Combined with the trauma of losing her beloved, and by her friend's hand, no less, she would have been devastated.
So instead you let her go on hating you, so she could use that hate as a crutch for her grief?
That's not the same as running away, though.
It is exactly the same. Unable to face the loss of my friend and the burden of my duty, instead I decried my fate and looked away from what I'd done. As for what happened after, that you already know.
But if you hadn't become Lord, Menancia wouldn't be what it is now. The Danans there would still be suffering under Renan oppression like before.
Shion's right. What other lord would have treated me as you did? Anyone else and I would have been dead long ago. You've saved so many people, Dohalim. You saved me. It's thanks to you that I'm here today. So, try not to blame yourself. The burden you've placed on your own shoulders is too much for anyone to bear.
Frank as always. But I shall do my best to heed your advice.
Do you think he'll be all right?
Yeah, I think so. He's got Kisara.
It's important to have someone like that.
I didn't realize how difficult it is just to be there for someone.
Sometimes just knowing someone's on your side can be enough. And he knows, Shion. I promise he does.
I hope you're right. Alphen,
Yeah?
I never appreciated until recently just how much you were always there to support me.
It goes both ways. You've helped me keep going more times than I can count.
Maybe, but I still wanted to say thank you.
I see a medic and supply officer over there. If they know you're with me, they'll likely offer their assistance.
Looks like we made it here in one piece.